What up, what nuts, Humpty Dump Nuts, and New Year's Resolupe hints. It is Wednesday, January 1st, 2025 in the United States and Canada and Chicago. And this is a show called What Chaos, presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. I am seated here in Chicago, so is Pete Blackburn to my left, and across the room is Sean DePaz. As we are remote, we countered some technical difficulties this morning, so apologies to folks who had to wait an extra few minutes. We will cut off the grab ass just a little bit to make up for that and get everything back on track. Peter, hello. Why don't you tell us what's on the show?
I would love to. Let's see. On the show today, the Blackhawks lose a game, and boy, did they ever. Gary Bettman joins the show. We talked to him before the Winter Classic yesterday. It was a fun old time. Old Gary Grabass joins the show in a little bit. And the World Junior Championship with Cam Robinson. Cam's going to join us. Big USA victory over Canada yesterday. Great way to close out 2024. And finally, we discuss the issues.
Yes, it's a New Year's resolution of ours, is we're going to get into issues. And this was something that our friend Gary Grabass, I love that name for him, put on our plate. Mm-hmm. He broke us down.
Yeah.
He was like, you guys are the guys that discuss the issues. And we were like, how did we get this interview?
When he said, I love that you guys discuss the issues, I was like, excuse me?
I want to be like, easy. What type of issues? We don't do hit chat around here. We're going to get to him in just a little bit. Sean, how are you doing? Poor guy.
Mike's on. Fine. I'm alive.
Sean's a little stressed.
Sean's last 24 hours has been a smorgasbord of working with not our familiar equipment and us being like, do the show, Cinderella. and the show ends up happening. So
yeah,
shout out Sean being good at his job.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it works out.
Well, let's discuss the Blackhawks losing a game because it was their fifth straight. And I didn't know this. Not only was it their fifth straight loss, the Anders era not going amazing. Did you know they were 0-for in the Winter Classic? They played in every Winter Classic and they've lost them all.
I did not know that until after the game, and I think you broke that news, and I was like, that's absolutely not true. There's no way that they are like 0-for-8 in the Winter Classic at this point, but they sure are. It was so funny that they got absolutely throttled because you see so many times team loses in the Winter Classic, doesn't go their way, even if they lose like a pretty bad game. They head into the post-game interviews and they're like, tough game. Hate to see it. Like, great atmosphere. A real, tough one to lose, but I'll remember this forever. No. Blackhawks players were like, we fucking suck. This is the worst. We're so sorry. And we need to just like blow everything up.
They were despondent. Yeah. They were miserable. It was a very, very tough scene out there. I'll just say, though, I'm not the biggest Winter Classic guy. I've gone to some. I've been able to go to more, and I've been like, nah, keep it. Somebody else do it. This, I thought, maybe it was because it was for this show and it was with you guys. I loved every second of it. The game stunk, but I don't expect good hockey there. I felt bad for Nick Foligno as he was fighting Braden Shen because he had said to us, this is a thing where you just gotta you gotta have fun and you gotta take it for what it is. It's a different sort of situation than your normal game. Just embrace it. And I'm like, man, I'm watching him fight as his team is getting absolutely pummeled. I'm like, well, at least he's kind of embracing it and doing everything he can. But
good fight.
Well, spin zone, and I discussed this with Pete before the game, is I really wanted somebody to fight with about 2 minutes left in a period like they did, because that means they got to go to the locker room early. They just got to get out of the cold. a couple minutes early. And I think that's what the captains did. They just,
Yeah, kind of a double win for Nick Foligno.
Yeah.
Didn't have to play in that game any longer and just got to go to the locker room.
got to stay a little warm. Yeah.
What bums me out, and we are aware, we went on Sunday night, we are aware the Blackhawks are not good, but I did not consider, really should have, because we discussed that was a 500 team yesterday against the worst team in the league, that we were saying, what could the takeaways be? Maybe Bedard shows out. Here's how you could save it. Maybe we see Frank Nazar. No, wrong on all those things. The only takeaway, the only talking point for everybody after the game, we saw friends, we saw other media members, podcasters and such, and the only thing that was taken away from that game is, oh my God, the Blackhawks are bad.
So bad.
Bad.
Yeah, real bad. And Taylor Hall almost cried after the game. It was really tough to watch. Also, are we getting a little buzz? A lot of chat and chatters saying a lot of buzz puns. So is there like an audio buzz or something? I don't know what's going on here. But not the most memorable Winter Classic in terms of like the game. Cool atmosphere. Like it was great I didn't get to go to the first Wrigley one, so that was it was fun. The entrances really underwhelming. I think that like a lot of the fanfare around like what you like from the Winter Classic from the teams wasn't there yesterday, which was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, and I think that we could have stood to discuss this with a Blues player instead of with a Blackhawks player, because you asked Alex Vlasic, hey, what's the plan? What are you guys doing? Just in the event that the Blackhawks didn't have a plan, that could have signaled, oh, we're supposed to do something. I got some we're not aware they were supposed to do something vibes off the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, that was pretty much the buzz. We saw a Blues player in the pro shop on what was it? I have no idea
Monday.
What day of the week it is anymore. On Monday, when we were scouring the pro shop, a Blues player was in there, and I think that they just went shopping in the pro shop and got some stuff to walk into the stadium.
Their theme was Fanatics.
Yeah.
Which I have to, shout out. Look, we're a controversial podcast. I got to shout out our friends at Fanatics. A lot of good stuff that was made for this. It was gross out there. You'll see in the Bettman interview. My hair was falling apart, so I just had to grab an extra beanie from Pete. We were walking out. I went and I just picked up a beanie from the merch thing just so I could exist for a few minutes. A lot of good hats, a lot of good everything. You boys cleaned up there. We're going to get to Gary Bettman in a few minutes. On TNT, he did talk about the next Winter Classic. The official announcement is coming next week. He said, quote, it's going to be a little unusual. It's going to be a little more unique. Some people will think we've lost our minds. We're not ready to announce it, but we will soon. It's going to be good. We're not ready to announce it either. It's not our thing to discuss. It's going to be in Florida. They're going to have the next year's Winter Classic will be in Florida. Teams and everything, you'll find out. I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be, if the teams are who we think the teams are,
people are going to be a little pissy.
I love it. You hate it.
No, I don't hate it. I think people are going to be a little pissy about it.
Oh, they should be pissy. But it's a usual suspect.
Yeah, there's a Florida team and a usual suspect, and the proposed one that was going around a little while ago was Panthers Lightning. It is not that. So,
no.
So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited about it. So, yeah. Final verdict on the jerseys.
Okay. I like the Blues ones less than I initially did. And I famously vomited. I made myself vomit, like unhealthy stuff. We all remember. Vomited all over the place. Gross time when I first saw those jerseys. You had issues with stripes, and I wasn't quite following, and I was like, they just suck. Pete can break down in better detail why they suck. I don't like them. I just want a blue note on the front. We were walking around, and I caught somebody at just the wrong angle, and he was wearing the jersey, and the stripes stopped here, and I was like, I hate that. I know what Pete's talking about.
Hate it.
The jerseys are even worse than I thought.
They are worse. The back of the Blues jersey, fantastic. A grade. The front of the Blues jersey, F-. Everybody's like, just wait till you see it in the game. No, that jersey fucking sucks. And the Blackhawks one, unbelievable. Me and Sean had the best takeaway of the day,
Probably.
which was the Blues had an SL logo on their helmets for the Winter Classic. Unbelievable logo. Just put that on the front of the jersey, and it's an A.
Yeah, I mean, it was the best logo of all. Like, if you take in the Blackhawks, the Blues, all like the patches, whatever, it was the best logo in the Winter Classic, and it did not appear in a single fucking place.
Just the helmet.
Other than the helmet, and that was by far the biggest miss of the Winter Classic to me.
The SL logo, if they put that on the Blues jersey, I think it would have been one of the best Winter Classic jerseys in the history of the event.
Agree wholeheartedly.
And I would have bought any merch that had that logo on it, and we didn't see it until the game on the helmets, which is crazy.
I'm still in love with the Blackhawks jersey, so much so that it might fall into Oilers Heritage Classic last year, where Sean was like, yeah, it's a good jersey, but that's also like a piece. So you want to just hang that up, you want to pass that down to your grandchildren or whatever, go ahead. That's how I feel about that Blackhawks jersey still. And I will not care that it represents them getting worked, because I'd be getting a Seth Jones jersey, and he was like a minus 400. I don't give a fuck what happened in the game.
Yeah, I mean, great for anybody who wants to get that jersey after the event. Like, in a couple of years, maybe even less than that, like 6 months, that jersey probably going to be pretty cheap on the secondary market. They're going to be trying to get rid of them. And even like Blackhawks fans aren't going to be scooping those up because they're not going to want to remember that game. So I'm probably going to own that Blackhawks Winter Classic jersey in short order.
Love to see Justition in the chat. Our friends were out here with Nick716. Nick, who we were chatting with, walked away from him, and we could hear as we were walking away, are you 716, Nick? All the good guys are getting recognized. I've been recognized maybe like twice. Pete's gotten a few. Sean is hammering recognitions.
I wish
Nick, hammering recognitions.
I wish I could remember the name of the whatnot that we met yesterday, but he punked us all a little bit because he saw us all, and then he came up to me first after the story I told about the whatnot that we met at the first Blackhawks game, and that was a fun moment.
Shout out also to Cam Fowler, because playing in his 1000th NHL game, he scored 2 goals. And
Hilarious.
I'll tell you what, I was mostly just like doing some like editing on my computer and stuff during that game. We would walk around. I just loved catching like a B- sight line at the Winter Classic. Is such a good feeling where you're like, I can kind of see it, but the lights in the stadium, it's magnificent or whatever. So we weren't deep into the game. We were doing work, we were having fun, we were socializing, but
Luckily, the Blackhawks weren't deep into the game either.
they were not deep into the game. But Cam Fowler, shout out you, and shout out the Ducks, who ended up having a better player entrance than any of the teams that played in the game last night.
Yeah, that's true. The Ducks, cool move, wearing Cam Fowler 1000th game shirts. Cool thing about those shirts is it just looks like they say, no,
Yes.
Cam Fowler's gone.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing like, no, Cam Fowler's gone. They're like, I don't know. They love Cam Fowler. We love Cam Fowler, but I don't know. Elliot had something about like Cam Fowler's making his 1000th game even more memorable. It's outside. It's blah blah. And I was like, he has played an entire career without getting like any shine. So 99 games without a peep, followed by an outrageous 1000th game. Go off, King. Respect. And go off to the Ducks, because I think that's a nice perspective to have. And why not celebrate your boy? I would like to celebrate Bauer, because today's podcast, it's all them. Nothing beats the sound of fresh steel cutting through the ice. Now you can hear that every time after getting a fresh buzz with Pro Sharp Bauer Advanced Skate Edge Sharpener. Perfect for all hockey players, families, or teams. The sharpener is fully automated and extremely easy to use, so you can get perfect edges anytime, anywhere, as long as you're plugged into power. And with built-in goalie skate mode, even your tendy can stay sharp. To learn more about Pro Sharp Bauer Advantage Skate Sharpener, or to see where you can find it in stores, head to bauer.com/ProSharp.
Also, you want to wear some sunglasses, go to Shady Rays. I wore my Shady Rays at the game yesterday. Lovely, premium, polarized sunglasses built to last. They are an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, and they are perfect for all outdoor adventures, including outdoor hockey. Although the weather yesterday was horrible, and I absolutely did not need those sunglasses. Go on.
You still could have wore them.
I did wear them.
Well, I was saying Connor Bedard wore sunglasses.
That's true.
Oh, he served so, but man.
I don't think those were Shady Rays, though.
I don't think
Unfortunately,
they could have been. They could have been.
And-
Shady
and-
Rays has glasses that look very similar to the ones that they have, and if Connor Bedard had like tripped on the ice and fallen and broke the glasses,
Well,
guarantee he's not getting those replaced like he would at Shady Rays.
True, and I would say if he got them from Shady Rays, he would be able to return those glasses, being like, these absolutely did not work for me and the boys. We're gonna need a new style. Do they come in other styles?
These are bad. Tuukka Rask famously got a new mask one year, and first game he played with it, got lit up, never saw the mask again. And I was like, hey, what happened to that mask you wore 2 weeks ago? And he was like, why? And I was like, you had a new mask, and now you're switching back to the old one. You just like didn't like it.
If you want to return your Shady Rays, you probably won't want to because they're awesome. But if you want to, they have an incredible return policy. If you don't love them, you can exchange for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has you covered with personal and fast support. They also have the lost or broken replacement policy, so every pair is backed if they take an unexpected hit. Incredible company, incredible policy. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
After yesterday's show, we went to the ballpark. We were scheduled to chat with Gary Bettman. We were very excited for it. What we did not anticipate was crazy weather conditions, a bunch of crazy logistical things popped up. We're getting soaked. We're figuring out, we're like, is Gary Bettman actually going to come out here and talk to us in this pouring rain? Not only did he come out and talk to us in the pouring rain, he came out earlier than expect. Shout out Gary, who I will say, maybe you don't want to hear this, has always been an absolute treat to deal with. He did the old radio show I did. He will do stuff that you'd think he should just say no to.
Yeah.
And we're very grateful that he has added us to that list of things he should probably skip. Here is our conversation with NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, presented by Bauer. Gary, what's the craziest suggestion you've gotten for fixing the league?
I didn't know the league needed to be fixed.
Pete's words, not mine.
Yes.
Tell me what you think the problem is.
Do this in the summer instead. I mean, it's all wet
Or
out
inside.
here.
You do know we play on ice, and the water needs to be frozen.
One of the things I wanted to ask you is how do you feel about people playing you in movies? Because in the last 2 years, you've had Blackberry and you've had Minor Leaguer. So how do you feel about your portrayal in movies?
There was also Bone Cop, Bad Cop, where they threw him in the trunk of a car, so I think things are getting better.
Who would you want to play you? I know that's a kind of cliche thing, but
Brad Pitt.
there you go. I think would do very well.
I think that's a joke.
Are you ready to travel the world with Wayne Gretzky here?
Of
Colin
course.
Ovechkin?
Wayne and I have had that conversation, and I think when Alex gets down to about 5 goals, based on his ability to be extremely prolific in any particular game, we're going to start following him around.
You guys going to do bunk beds or anything on the road? What's the plan?
I don't think that was the plan, but I'll see. It's up to Wayne.
Could save a few dollars.
We went to Utah, and that's going gangbusters.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Loved you sitting on the glass with Ryan Smith. That was amazing. Obviously, that was a relocation, but at some point, is there a number for you that expansion-wise you think would be too much eventually?
Actually, technically, it was a hybrid because it's a new franchise, but they took the high operations department and the players. But we get regularly solicited with expressions of interest, probably 10 or so cities and different owners. We don't have expansion as a mandate, like we want to be at a certain number. If somebody comes in and checks the boxes, then we'll take a look at it. And the boxes are obviously ownership, market, arena, and will it make the league stronger? And there are a couple of places that are trying to make a compelling case, and they may do that.
And you came in with the Panthers, so awarding that cup last year when they've got all this history behind, I'm sure in that moment you're like, man, I've been doing this a minute, but what's it like to see a team that came in with you get the cup with years of suffering and highs and lows and everything behind it?
Technically, they came in about a half a year after me.
Yeah.
But what was really nice to see was how South Florida has become such a strong hockey market. To see that building full, to see the knowledgeable, energetic, passionate fans, and to see how well hockey's doing at all levels of Florida has been great. And Florida's a great story because it's not just down in South Florida, it's up in Tampa too.
We can all agree that you're currently in your prime, but have you given any thought to how much longer you want to do this?
That was a nice way of you saying I'm aging out.
Oh, you're aging gracefully.
Well, that's so nice of you to say. I love what I do. I'm energized by it. The league has been growing. I've got great support of ownership. When you look at and it's not just me, it's all the people that work at the league office, it's the tens of thousands of people at the clubs. Hockey's in a good place, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
You're on the how many days on the road? 100-ish you estimated once?
Probably more. I've stopped counting.
But it's still, you're father, grandfather, and everything, and you're still you feel that it all still fits.
If I didn't have the energy, and if I didn't love what I do, and I didn't get thrilled every day to go to work with the people I worked with, then I'd have to think about slowing down. And at some point, father time always wins. I'll have to deal with that, but at least for the foreseeable future, I like where I am.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith constantly brags about his friendship with you. What is that relationship like?
He's a great guy. He's smart, he's knowledgeable and passionate about sports. He's great at communicating with people and bringing the important stories to life. And I've been to a hockey game with him, and we stay in touch, and it's great to have him as part of the game.
He's also a lightning rod, and I'm wondering, you get blamed for things that have nothing to do with you. We were joking. We were like, we should have
the weather's my fault.
Yeah, it's we should have Gary on and be like, well, we don't like the Blues jerseys. Why'd you make it that way or whatever? You get blamed for things that are your fault, aren't your fault. But do you know anybody? Is there a person in the world that you know that can relate to that, or do you feel like I'm the only one that experiences this?
I'm not that paranoid. The fact of the matter is, people that run organizations, people who are in the public eye, whether you're a politician or a celebrity or you run a business that's very visible, people are always going to be critical. And in this era of social media, it gives people more of a platform to be critical, and I'm okay with that. Not everybody's going to like every decision I make. What I do is I try and make the best decision I can that I'm comfortable with, and I try to do it for the right reasons. And if people are good with that, great. And if they're not, okay.
Well, we're aware a decision you did not have to make was to come on with us and talk to us, and we're extremely grateful you did. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm grateful for all you do to bring the game to more and more people and talk about the game, talk about the issues, talk about how terrific the game is. So thank you for all you do.
It's for better or worse, it is the most chaotic, ridiculous game in the world. So we love it.
We love it.
We all love it.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
You too.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Gary Bettman, friend of the podcast, regular. We were talking about maybe adding him to the mix.
Third host.
To my left is Pete Blackburn. Further to my left is Gary Bettman. Actually, from this angle, if you went to the right, I'm actually a little closer to your right. Thanks.
Thanks, Gary.
I love that about him.
What if Gary Bettman was just our stat checker?
You and
our show stat check. Actually, fellas.
I wanted to be like, Gary, you know you're smarter than us, right? You know that we know you're smarter than us. If I say you came in with the Panthers and I'm within 4 years, win for Dave. Smartest thing I said. If you can't get me on a few. I didn't think that they were like, hey, we have a commissioner now and the Florida Panthers. I love
Today on What Chaos, Gary Bettman mansplaining hockey to What Chaos.
I don't know.
Played on ice, you know.
We were talking about it off the show, and Sean was like, loves that fans, even if they respect something he does, they're like, yeah, but we are legally obligated to boo you. We're gonna lose subscribers. I like Gary Bettman.
I think that he is a fun guy.
Yes.
He's a fun guy. And as Ben Ace in the chat points, and we alluded to earlier in the show, him saying that we talk about the issues and your immediate whipping of your head to me.
Oh, did I? Was I smirking or something? Yeah.
I think I made a face too. I was like, huh? Excuse me? Yeah, so thank you to Gary Bettman. We love him.
It's fantastic. Thanks for him willing to do it. The league was really cool about it. And Sean, you were a rock star. That looked and sounded amazing. So way to go there. Let's now talk about the issues with Cam Robinson of Elite Prospects, because we haven't done any World Juniors today, and there was a lot that went down yesterday. USA beating Canada 4-1 in the final game of the group stage, and USA wins the group because why wouldn't they? Cam, how are you?
I'm doing well, boys, and I gotta say, I'm a Gary Bettman fan too. He's been nothing but lovely with me every time I've been around him. Just a prince. I like him.
I'm saying. Okay, how much better is USA than Canada?
This tournament, significantly. On paper, on skill, probably not at all. But it's just been the sum of their parts has been they've been that much better, and it's been clear as day. I know that Canada shot them by a good margin yesterday, but the Americans outchanced them heavily. They had more energy. They were able to stay out of the box a lot better. They're playing as a team, and I think they're being they're out coaching the Canadian staff. They were my pick to go back to back, and I feel pretty strongly about that still today.
How many years away is Canada from closing the gap on USA's talent production?
That's a sentence I never thought I would be asked. I mean, we got to remember, you boys were hanging out with Bedard there yesterday too, right? And Bedard, Celebrini, Benson, they could all still be playing here at this club. I tweeted it last night, like, just hear me out. Maybe we just airlift Connor in for a minute and just let him have some fun. Get him out of the darkness of Chicago for a minute here. But no, it's been awesome to see the American development system. With the NTDP, they produce talent at an equal or greater level than Canada does right now, and it shouldn't be that shocking at 10 times the population size is that you have the ability to do that just on sheer numbers. But the focus has been made, and it's been going back 10, 15 years, is that you want to elevate the skill level at a younger age, get them into these elite programs like the Canadians have been doing for a while now at Notre Dame and at Shattuck. And they've been doing that now in the States. And obviously we're seeing it. And so, the U20s last year, looking like they might win it again this year. Like, if they win the Four Nations, do all of a sudden are they the one seed, right? Are they the one seed internationally? I think you probably have to give it to them. I don't even want to get into how many cups they've won, because that's just that's a franchise thing rather than a player thing. But no, it's neck and neck, if not slight edge to the Americans at this point.
Did Canada botch their roster construction? Because we're ground floor Michael Misa guys. We've always known about him. We've been following him since way before the teddy bear toss. That actually kind of bummed us out. We were like, now people are going to know about him. There's actually buzz this guy might get drafted. We love him, but he's left off the roster in all seriousness. The OHL's leading scorer, among other players. So did they chunk this?
Yeah. Easy answer is yes, they chunked it. And Misa's not even the biggest snub, to be quite honest with you, because he's a draft eligible, right? And they already had 4 17-year-olds on this team, or 3 17-year-olds on this team, I should say. And they weren't going to have 4. They could have brought Misa instead of Porter Martone, but realistically, it's on the blue line that was like the biggest omission. No Zane Parekh. He is literally the best offensive defenseman that Canada has in this age group. I love Matt Schaefer, and losing him in that second game early, that's been the biggest hit to this team, because he was the only player on that blue line that could do the things that he does. And it's the dynamic activations, it's the play creation, it's getting up and joining the rush. They didn't bring anyone else who could do that, run a power play to a high level. And Zane Parekh does all those things. Yeah, he can take some dumb penalties too, but you take the good with the bad. I don't know why you don't just bring them. They got Bo Aki just sitting on the bench anyways. Why not bring a kid like Parekh and have him sit on the bench, or just only start him in the offensive zone and on the power play if you're really that scared of his defensive flaws or his penalty issues. Carter Yakimchuk, Beckett Seneca, the kid, 3rd overall pick, and you can talk all you want about, well, he shouldn't have been 3rd overall. He was a reach. The kid's dynamic skills-wise, and, he's just been on a bender since he didn't make the team, just kind of sticking it right in Dave Cameron and the rest of the coaching staff's face there for not taking him. So there's all these players, including Misa, like you said, leading the OHL in points. Super dynamic. He can play the middle. He can play the wing. This team can't score goals, right? They have enough talent to do it, but they're snake bitten. They're not being deployed the way they should be, and they left a ton of talent at home in lieu of bringing guys that are supposed to be physical and defensively responsible. And hey, they're not giving up even strength goals. They're just not scoring them either. So it's you got to do one of them anyways.
You know, a team does have some good offensive defensemen. The United States. How good is Cole Hudson? I love Lane Hudson. I love watching him at BU. Is Cole better? Is it close? Like, is he a real dog? What's Cole Hudson's deal? Because I haven't watched a ton of him.
Cole Hudson's a rat, and like I texted my buddy this yesterday because he said he's like Cole Hudson's a stud, and he's a stud at this tournament, but he's a rat too because he's kind of nasty. He gets under guys' skin, and he's got the goods to back it up. So he's not Lane. I don't think he's that level of skill, but I have come along on him. You know, I really thought he was kind of like the PC version, the President's Choice version of his older brother. But he's closing that gap. The shot's not as hard, but it's still good. But he's got the same similar type of elusiveness to his game. He can play make, but I really love kind of that chippy, agitating thing that he's got going on. You know, in the defensive end, he's not a stalwart back there, but he doesn't mind like laying some lumber, chirping the guys, getting a little cross checks here and there. And so that type of stuff is going to serve him really well as he tries to transition to the pros. But at this event, he's been money in the bank. Like him and Sandin Pellikka for Sweden, they've been the top offensive defenders. You know, Z Buyen was supposed to be the real driver for the Americans, and he's still a stud for sure. But it's been Hudson who's like taking the reins offensively. And Washington looks like they've got themselves a good one with him.
I was just about to I love the President's Choice reference and love saying PC to mean President's Choice. Mm-hmm. Old people like me can respect that very much. But man, between him and Leonard, and I'm sure 50 guys that you know that we don't, the Capitals, with where they're positioned right now, they are like their current team, I feel, is just very house money because they tried something crazy and it's working. But the reinforcements that they've got coming, and maybe Cole isn't as close as Ryan Leonard is, but like, it seems like they're positioned to really keep this thing moving.
Yeah, it looked like the bottom was going to fall out of the big club, and then they didn't have a lot of top end prospects coming, and it looked like some dark times for Washington in the future. And you're right, you know, house money for the big club. They're playing great. They still got the superstar in Ovi that's just chasing greatness, and you know, Dylan Strome's in money. But no, Ryan Leonard, he could be in the NHL right now. Like he had every opportunity to sign at the end of last year and step in and get games, and he decided no, I'm going to go back to Boston College. You know, play with my good buddy Gabe Perreault, welcome Jimmy Haggins into the mix, go for try to win a natty. Try to go for the national championship, but I know that he wanted to do one other thing, and he wanted to be part of the first ever American team to go back-to-back the World Juniors, right? Now, this is his team this year. Now, granted, the points haven't been coming as much as he would like, and you saw last night, rang a couple of posts, and he's like involved in everything, right? He's either face down in front of the Canadian net because he's getting cross-checked because he's just right in Carter George's kitchen, or he's just like mucking it up. And so he's a real kind of emotional leader and a physical player for this American team. And that's what he's going to bring to the Capitals, you know, the second he steps out of school at the end of this year, whether, you know, Boston College goes on a long run or not. I think he's coming out regardless. And you know, bringing Cole Hudson into the mix too, for sure, is that he isn't as close. I would imagine he's got another year at school, at least, before he's ready to really come out and push for an NHL job. But you know, you can take that wait time with some of these American kids and give them that chance to just thrive in school. He'll come back, play World Juniors, and you know, that'll be his team. So yeah, they've got a bright future.
Should the Capitals be the happiest team watching this World Juniors, or is there another one? I particularly have Detroit on my mind because of Sandin Pellikka. He's a fucking stud, but also Trey Augustine, and he looks amazing. So like, or is it those two teams and everybody else, or is there another team that I'm kind of missing here?
Yeah, it's those two teams for sure. You know, the Blues have like 8 or 9 prospects at this tournament too. Is like always a nice feather in your cap, but they don't have like the guy. You know, they don't have that one that they can just plant their flag in and be like, this guy's going to be a star for us. They've got a bunch of guys that are probably going to project to be like middle sixers or like middle pair guys. Whereas, yeah, absolutely, Trey Augustine, you know, he had his struggles early on in this event, you know, that finish game where he was looking in his glove to see if there's a hole in it, because they were attacking that glove side, and they fully came out, the Finns, right after that game, like, yeah, we were shooting at his glove, we knew it was weak. And then, you know, he got some shots early last night against Canada, and he got into a rhythm, and I said it to the guy sitting next to me on press row. I was like, you don't want to get Trey Augustine into this game early and have him feeling good about himself, and he did, and then he shut the door, right? Like, it took a cross seam dish to Nadeau on the power play to beat him, and then nothing else was getting by him. So, you know, Augustine, Sandin Pellikka, I'm not as high as some people are on him, and I know Red Wings fans that they've barked at me about this before. I mean, he's a strong player. I don't think he's going to be a superstar in the league, despite like the gaudy point totals he puts up. You know, top defenseman at the World Juniors last year, left the SHL is the top scoring D in the entire league, like arguably the third best league in the world as a U20. So he knows how to jack points. Like that's quite obvious. But I'm just a little hesitant to project him to be like that monster point projector in the NHL. But I think he's still going to be a good player. So the Red Wings. Absolutely, for sure. And the Caps, they're just, you know, like you said, playing with house money.
You mentioned James Haggins from BC. Shall we like grab one of these Blackhawks jerseys and start stitching, or is there anybody else in the mix to potentially be that first guy?
Oh yeah, there's someone in the mix to be that first guy. So I dropped this yesterday. So I pulled 10 NHL GMs and scouts, executives and scouts, and asked them, you know, what their thoughts at first overall. And, you know, I gave them, you know, I kind of teed them up with James Haggins or Matthew Schaefer, the Canadian defenseman. And, you know, a couple guys did bring up Michael Misa, you know, Porter Martone's name came up as well, just in that discussion. But on that vote, 7 votes for Matty Schaefer. So he, at this point, from that selection, you know, a smaller sample size, it's not all 32 teams, is that, you know, at this point, I'd say Schaefer's probably still the leading candidate to go one, just because he's 10 months younger than Haggins. He's, you know, one of the youngest kids, if not the youngest kid in this draft class. He's an electric skater. You can project him to be like a true elite number 1 defenseman more easier than you can project Haggins to be like an elite number 1 center. So I had one scout say that he looks like he's going to be Drew Doughty, like that type of player. That's how good Matt Schaefer looks that he could be. So James Haggins, he started really, really strong in this tournament. You know, popped 6 points in the first 2 games or something like that, and he's still sitting at 6 points now after 4. So he's slowing down as the games are starting to tighten up a little bit too. Even though he's getting his 19, 20 minutes a night on that first line, he's seeing top power play minutes. Really good player. I really like James Haggins, and if it is Chicago picking at 1. Maybe they can stitch up Haggins, because I have a feeling they're not going to take a defenseman if they landed in that pole position. So I think it's really going to come down to who is actually picking at that spot this year. But if it's just blank slate, give me Matt Schaefer at this point.
Is Misa because we want Misa to go to the Sabres, because when we saw the teddy bear thing, we thought that maybe teams want Florida Panthers style players, people who will muck it up, piss people off. And as Pete said, that was just straight Grinch mode. Is that the type of player Misa is? We've seen on social media with reaction to stuff that maybe he's got a little bit of chip on his shoulder. Are we projecting that he plays with an edge just based on the teddy bear toss, or is that actually what that dude is?
He's got some jam. He's got some jam, for sure. He's got some pushback. He's had a couple suspies in his career, but I don't know if he's, you know, I called Cole Hudson a rat. I don't know if he's a rat. Like I don't know if he's going to be out there playing like Matty Tkachuk or anything like that. But he definitely has some pushback to his game, and he can get, you know, under players' skins at times, or someone can get under his skin and he can let him know about it. But he's a really interesting player because, you know, exceptional status, kid into the OHL, had a tremendous year when he first came in. And then, you know, last season wasn't as good as many people thought he was going to be. The expectations for a draft -1, he really picked it up throughout the season and into the Memorial Cup and had a really strong finish at the Mem Cup. And then this year, you know, just exploded. So it's kind of been a bit of a roller coaster on his projection. And so now he's right back into the mix. So if he went 1, I wouldn't be shocked, you know, but if he goes 2, I think that's a possibility too. I think you could see something crazy where it's, you know, Schaefer, Misa, Martin, Haggins, like that. That's not out of this world. Like that could happen too. So I'm a big Michael Misa fan. And you know what? Another thing is he's strong. So we had him and Porter Martone. We were doing some fun interviews with them there last month. Martone's like towers over him. He's 6'3". He's you know, supposed to be this big power forward. And we asked like, who's the stronger guy? Both of them were like, yeah, Michael's stronger. He's built like a bit of a tank.
Damn. Well, I'm sure we're going to talk to you before this tournament is over, because you're just the best on this stuff and we love picking your brain. Cam, everyone can find you at Elite Prospects. You're also hockey_Robinson on the old Twitter machine. Thank you so much, my friend.
Appreciate it, boys. Happy New Year.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Yes, Puck Follower in the chat says Jar Jar Binks' ass name on Michael Misa. Love it, though. I realized as he was talking about Misa, I was like, wait, we actually like haven't really watched this guy and like don't actually know how he plays.
Well,
and we just
there's a reason. We have an excuse for why we haven't watched him.
They don't put him on teams.
Canada doesn't want to watch him either.
What's going on? Bad job there. It's interesting though, the like ups and downs he was talking about. Like Tyler Seguin had that in junior, to the point where when he was coming out, it was like recently there were some questions about him. Are we sure this is going to be an absolute stud? And yes, he goes on to be a stud. No stud bigger than Cam Robinson, though. We appreciate him. Always love talking to him. Quickly should note, every player that you like is on IR right now, okay? So just, that's what life is. We were talking to our friend Pasha from Chicklets last night, and he's, I would say, one of the more, like, calm, like, straightforward, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, thinks that everyone in the NHL is really good, all teams are created equal type. He was bummed about Shesterkin being on IR, but I think he'll get through it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's your fault that Kirill Kaprizov, now currently on IR as well.
I was told he was good. We have to start making fun of players for getting hurt. Just someone's got a New Year's resolution.
I was told he was not overrated.
Yeah, yeah.
Guy doesn't even play games.
I was trying to craft a tweet when I saw that, like, oh, he's missing time so he can be more like McDavid, who missed time and has more points than him. In parentheses, Kaprizov has not missed time before this.
No, it's tough. Bad season for being on IR, but maybe some Blackhawks players should try it.
We saw a few other ones, though. We were just like peeking up at the New Year's celebration, looking at the ticker or whatever. And just like every player that we were like, oh, you know that guy's on IR? You know that guy's on IR? You know Jonathan Huberdeau has 16 goals? Damn. Shout out him.
And 13 assists.
Yes, that's
Oh,
right.
There were
Yeah, that's right.
accusations being lofted
I did
against
levy
him.
accusations that Huberdeau was a Cy Young candidate.
Put some respect on his name.
He is not. He's 16 and 13. Terrible pitcher.
29-point season so far.
Shout out Sabrina in the chat, who noted that all teams are created equal is very kumbaya hockey. Shout out friend of the show, Sarah Palin.
That's right. Pasha and Palin, big Ranger supporters.
Yeah, I was like, yo, you keeping up with this Palin thing? And he was like, what's that? I guess when
Nobody knows about that.
A, no one knows about it, good point. And B, he doesn't need help with hating the Rangers.
No.
He doesn't need, like, I hate the Rangers. See, a person agrees with me. He doesn't need someone to agree with it. Like, he's very, like, I know what I know. I'm right. I was just talking to him for, like, 5 minutes, and I was like, if this guy, because I can drive you crazy with just, like, the kind of monotone, even if I'm being a dick, I'm still not getting too animated. I was like, if Pete had to have like a 10-minute conversation with this guy about something that Pete cared about, Pete would strangle him. Like, this guy is that good.
Yeah, like he's so calm and composed, and he's like he's very thoughtful, very knowledgeable.
Yeah, he's very
and
smart.
He does not hit those peaks and valleys. He's just very, very calm, unless he's talking about Jacob Trouba, in which case, not very calm, famously.
Yeah, that whole thing.
That was the best. Also, Devils fans are just having the absolute time of their life this season. Just like their team's awesome. The Rangers are the worst. And then like the other two teams in New York, also pretty bad.
I learned last night that Jacob Markstrom is there as part of the Adam Larson trade tree.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I did not know this. We're going to have to do a breakdown at some point. I was unaware. I love a good trade tree. Trading Adam Larson straight up for Taylor Hall, which famously was a fine deal on both sides, has gotten them so much stuff. What's up, Sean?
Reading the chat.
Oh. Yeah, well, now people are just talking about Sarah Palin.
And let's go Blues.
That's what we end up doing here. Let's talk about the slate. First of all, how did we like the December 31st Winter Classic?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I say keep it. I know they were kind of bullied into it by college football, but I say keep the New Year's Eve game a little bit earlier. I would like it.
I'd say do that and don't do the other games.
Yes.
You
should not be competing against yourself.
Well, you can do other games. Just make them, like, I would say make the Winter Classic at noon or whatever, 1 noon, and then make all the other games on like a normal, like, evening kind of schedule.
Yeah, like there were games that we cared about on last night, and I was like, you know what? I've been in front of screens a lot this week, and I'm not like patting myself on the back for only watching one game last night, but I was like, I'm just gonna watch the World Junior game. I'm not putting on the NHL games I care about. It's too much. It's entirely too much movement at breakfast. I can't watch all these things at once right now. If we had come from the Winter Classic and then watched ourselves a World Junior game, and that's the only thing we have to think about. Easy, lovely, do that. So I was initially against it on the 31st, but I agree with you, Pete. Do it again on the 31st. It's nice to lead into all the merrymaking.
It very much feels like a lead-in versus a like. Well, now this is what we do when we're hungover or tired or whatever. Like it's fun to get excited about it as the lead up to the New Year's celebration rather than being on the opposite side of it. So I'm a big fan of them keeping it that way. So let's get weird next year in Florida.
I must remind people, everybody who is watching for the first time, maybe smash subscribe, do that. Pete will call for a like spike in just a few. Sean, could you throw up today's slate? It's deep, I believe. You're a member of the deep slate. Oh, no, we got one game.
Nice.
The Devils at the Kings at 6 p.m. Eastern. Let me do this off the top of my head. That is obviously a Tyler Toffoli Bowl. Mm-hmm. Devils and Kings. Who else we got?
That would be a I'm thinking. I don't know.
We got a Mike Camilleri Bowl.
Okay.
That's a good one. What else do we have? We have a Sean O'Donnell Bowl. We have a Kyle Quincy Bowl. We've got any good goalies? No, Jonathan Bernier. That's it. I'll say
this is A- bowl.
It's a Brian Bowl. It's a Brian Boyle.
Nice.
It's a Brian Boyle Bowl.
Yes, got it. Kovalchuk.
Oh yeah, okay. So I think that if you just do like Toffoli and Kovalchuk, that's good. Somebody said it's a Rob Scuderi Bowl. I give you that, but other than that, man, it's not amazing. Wait, is it a Rob? I don't know if it is. Anyway, the People's Winter Classic says, folks, I'm not going to watch this game. I don't care about it. I'm going to do other stuff.
Yeah, same. I'm going to watch Texas.
Although Kings and Devils, happy with both this season.
Yeah, I think they're both solid.
It's going to be a good game.
That's like a second tier contender bowl, I would say. I think the Devils are like one of 3 good teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. We're off to watch college football. We'll have some more stuff coming tomorrow. On tomorrow's episode, we're going to do something that we did when they did the Time Person of the Year, and they gave it to Taylor Swift for reasons. We're going to discuss who won 2024 in the hockey world.
That's
who really led it? And no, the answer isn't obviously Tate McRae. It's probably Tate McRae. But we're going to do some submissions there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So we will talk to you then. Pete, quickly first, tell them to press a button.
Yeah, please hit that like button right below the video player. That's the thumbs up button. Also, if you're not subscribed, please do that as well. And as Kelly points out, Chaos Chain starts yesterday. The Blues hold the Chaos Chain.
Oh, amazing. Great stuff. So glad we're doing that again, sincerely. We will, Sean, what are you laughing at? We will talk to you tomorrow. Bye. We love you.
We all silly like the mayor.